The medical bay was dark and quiet. Only the soft hum of life support systems could be heard. Minho sat beside the pilot, holding the cold hand gently. Hana stood nearby, uncertain what to do. Vrex remained by the wall, watching silently. "What now?" Hana whispered. "Now we talk to him," Minho said, "but he's unconscious." Maybe not. Human consciousness is strange. Even when we appear completely unresponsive, sometimes a part of us is still listening, still aware, trapped deep inside but present. Minho leaned closer to the pilot. He spoke in a gentle voice, barely above a whisper. "Can you hear me?" "I don't know your name yet. They pulled you from that escape pod and all your identification was damaged. But that's okay. Names aren't important right now." He paused, as if waiting for a response that wouldn't come. "I'm Dr. Minho. I'm human, like you. I know you're in there somewhere. I know you're tired. I know your body wants to give up. But I need you to hold on a little longer. Just a little longer." Vrex's crystalline body pulsed with soft light. This seems pointless. His brain activity is too low to process language. "You don't know that," Minho replied without looking away from the pilot. "Human brains are more resilient than your scanners suggest." Minho continued talking. He spoke about Earth, about the sky and the oceans, about cities with millions of people, about small villages in the mountains. He talked about food, about music, about all the sensory experiences that made being human special. "Do you remember the smell of rain?" Minho asked softly. "That clean, fresh smell when water hits dry ground? Or the taste of your favorite food? Everyone has a favorite food. Mine is kimchi stew. My grandmother made it every Sunday when I was young." Hana watched, fascinated. This wasn't medicine as she had learned it. This was something else, something more personal, more human. Minutes passed. The pilot remained motionless. The scanners still showed almost no activity. But Minho kept talking. His voice was calm and steady, like he was speaking to an old friend. The doors opened quietly and someone else entered. It was Yuna, the ship's psychiatrist. She was human too, with long black hair and kind eyes. She had heard about what was happening and came to help. "Dr. Minho," she said softly. "May I assist?" "Please." Yuna moved to the other side of the table. She took the pilot's other hand. "What's his condition?" "Barely alive. Heart beating 5 times per minute. Almost no brain activity. But I think he's listening." Yuna nodded. She understood. The neural cardiac connection. When humans experience extreme trauma, sometimes our minds retreat to protect themselves. But the connection between consciousness and body remains. Emotional stimulation can sometimes reach deeper than physical treatment. She looked at the pilot's face, studying it carefully. Then she began to speak, her voice soft and warm. "You're safe now. The danger is over. You survived. You're on a coalition ship called Horizon's Edge. We're taking care of you. You don't have to be afraid anymore." Minho continued his own words. Together their voices filled the dark medical bay with gentle sounds. They talked about memories, about home, about hope. They described sensations, sounds, smells, tastes, anything that might reach through the darkness where the pilot's mind was hiding. Hana watched the scanner that Sayok had adjusted. The heartbeat remained at 5 beats per minute, steady but unchanged. She felt her own hope starting to fade. Maybe the Admiral was right. Maybe this was pointless. But then Yuna said something that changed everything. "Would you like to hear a song?" she asked the pilot. "Music sometimes reaches us when words cannot." She looked at Hana. "Do you know any Korean songs?" Hana hesitated. "My grandmother taught me a lullaby when I was very small." "Sing it," Minho said. "Sing it for him." "But I'm not a good singer." "It doesn't matter. Just sing." Hana took a breath. Her voice was shaky at first, uncertain. But then she remembered her grandmother's voice singing this same song. She remembered being small and safe, wrapped in warm blankets. She let that memory guide her. The lullaby was simple, old, the kind of song that had been sung for generations. The melody was gentle and sad and beautiful all at once. The words spoke of stars and moonlight and dreams of home. Hana sang quietly, her voice filling the dark medical bay. Vrex stood completely still, his crystalline body no longer pulsing. Even he seemed affected by the sound. And then something happened. The pilot's right hand moved. Just barely. Just the fingers. A tiny twitch that might have been nothing. But Minho saw it. "Again," he said to Hana. "Sing it again." She sang the lullaby a second time. This time she sang with more confidence. Her voice was stronger, clearer. The melody carried through the darkness like a thread of light. The pilot's fingers moved again. This time more clearly. His hand squeezed slightly against Minho's palm. "He's responding," Yuna said with quiet excitement. Minho looked at the adjusted scanner. The heartbeat was still 5 per minute, but something had changed. The pattern looked different. More regular, stronger. "Keep singing," Minho said. Hana sang the lullaby a third time, and a fourth. Each time, the pilot showed more small signs of response. His fingers would move. His breathing would shift slightly. Once, his eyelids fluttered but didn't open. Rex moved closer to observe. "This is remarkable. The neural activity is increasing. Only slightly but measurably. How is sound producing a physical response? Because humans are emotional creatures," Yuna explained. "Our bodies and minds are connected in ways we still don't fully understand. Emotion can affect heart rate. Memory can trigger physical responses. Music can reach parts of the brain that nothing else can touch." The scanner suddenly changed. The heartbeat jumped from 5 to 6 beats per minute, then to 7. "It's working," Hana said, her eyes wide with wonder. Minho squeezed the pilot's hand. "That's it, come back. Follow the sound. Follow the music. Find your way home." The pilot's breathing became slightly deeper. Color, just a hint of it, began to return to his lips. The gray skin started to look less gray. These were tiny changes. Microscopic almost, but they were real. 8 beats per minute. Then 9. "His body temperature is rising," Rex observed, checking another display. 0.3 degrees. 0.5 degrees. Minho leaned close to the pilot's ear. "I know you're tired. I know it's easier to stay in the darkness. But people are waiting for you. People need you. Come back to us. 10 beats per minute." Hana stopped singing, amazed by what she was seeing. The scanners that had shown death for hours were now showing life. "Weak life, fragile life, but undeniable life. Don't stop," Minho said. "Keep singing. Keep pulling him back," she sang again. The same lullaby, over and over. Her voice became the only sound in the dark medical bay, a lifeline. A beacon, 12 beats per minute. The pilot's eyes moved beneath closed lids. His chest rose and fell with slightly stronger breaths. His hand, which had been limp and cold, now had the smallest amount of tension in it. "He's coming back," Yuna said softly. "He's fighting his way back to consciousness." 15 beats per minute. And then, so quietly that Minho almost missed it, a sound came from the pilot's throat. Not words, just a small sound, a groan, a sign of life. Minho felt tears forming in his eyes, but he blinked them away. "That's it. You're doing it. Come on. Come back to us." The pilot's eyelids fluttered again. This time they opened just a crack, just enough to see a thin line of light reflecting in dark eyes. Then they closed again, but it was enough. Rex's crystalline body glowed brightly with amazement. "He's conscious. Barely, but conscious. This should not be possible. But it is possible," Minho said. "Because he's human. Because he's stubborn. Because he refuses to die." 20 beats per minute. Still dangerously slow, but rising steadily. The doors opened and Admiral Kilos entered with several other officers. They had come to witness the death documentation, but instead, they saw something completely different. They saw a patient who had been dead according to every scanner now showing clear signs of life. They saw numbers climbing on displays. They saw movement where there had been stillness. They saw a miracle performed not with advanced technology, but with human hands, human voices, and human stubbornness. Admiral Kalos stared at the scanners in disbelief. "How?" Minho looked up at him, exhausted but triumphant. "I told you. He's not dead. He never was. You just needed to know how to look for him." The pilot's eyes opened again. This time they stayed open. They were unfocused and weak, but they were open. His lips moved, trying to form words. Hana leaned closer. "What is he saying?" The pilot's voice was barely a whisper, so quiet they had to strain to hear it. But the words were clear enough. "I heard singing," Minho smiled. "Yes, you did. Welcome back." Word spread quickly through the ship. A human doctor was treating a dead patient. Some crew members thought it was interesting. Others thought it was foolish. By the 5th hour, a small crowd had gathered outside the medical bay, watching through the windows. More alien doctors arrived to observe. They stood along the walls, their various forms creating a strange collection of shapes and colors. Some had multiple eyes, Others had no eyes at all. But they all watched Minho work with the same curious intensity. A new voice spoke from the doorway. "I heard you're performing a miracle." Minho looked up. A human man stood there wearing an engineering uniform. His name was Siok, and he worked in the ship's main systems department. He was older than Minho, maybe 45, with gray hair at his temples. "Not a miracle," Minho said. "Just medicine." Siok walked to the table and looked at the pilot. "The whole ship is talking about this. They say the scanners show him dead, but you say he's alive." "He is alive." "Can I see the scanner data?" Vrex gestured to the floating displays. Siok studied them for several minutes, his eyes moving across the numbers and graphs. Then he pulled out a small device from his pocket and connected it to the medical systems. "What are you doing?" Vrex asked. "My job," Siok said simply. "I'm an engineer." "You have a problem with your equipment. Maybe I can fix it." "There is nothing wrong with the equipment." "Then why isn't it detecting the heartbeat Dr. Minho can feel?" Vrex had no answer for that. Siok worked for 20 minutes, his fingers moving across holographic controls. He adjusted settings, changed parameters, recalibrated sensors. Minho continued his own work, checking the pilot's vital signs with his hands and eyes. Hana measured the pulse again. 5 beats per minute now, she said quietly. "Good, he's getting stronger." Suddenly, one of the displays changed. The red letters flickered and were replaced by new text. "Irregular cardiac activity detected. Pattern unknown." Everyone in the medical bay turned to look at the screen. "There," Siok said. "I adjusted the scanner to look for much slower rhythms. It's still not perfect, but it's picking up something now." Vrex moved closer to the display. His crystalline body glowed brighter with surprise. "This is impossible. The scanner shows a heartbeat of approximately 5 beats per minute. No species in the Coalition database can survive with such a slow heart rate." "Humans aren't in most of your databases yet," Minho said. "We're still new here. Still surprising you." Another alien doctor spoke up. She was the purple-skinned one with 6 eyes from before. "Even if there is a heartbeat, the brain cannot survive with so little blood flow. Brain damage would be severe, irreversible." "Maybe for your species," Minho replied. "But human brains can survive longer than you think without oxygen. We have documented cases of humans being underwater for over an hour and surviving with full brain function. Our bodies have defense mechanisms you haven't seen before." The doctor shook her head. "I cannot accept this. It violates basic biological principles." "Then watch," Minho said firmly. "Watch and learn." The tension in the room grew thicker. Some of the alien doctors whispered among themselves. Others simply stared. Minho ignored them all. He focused only on his patient. He placed his hands on the pilot's chest and began a procedure he had learned in military medical training. It was called manual cardiac massage, but not the normal kind. This was different, gentler, more rhythmic. He pressed down in a specific pattern, trying to encourage the heart to beat a little faster. "A little stronger. What are you doing?" Vrex asked. "Helping his heart remember how to work properly. Sometimes a heart in this state needs a reminder, a rhythm to follow." Minho continued the massage for 10 minutes. Press and release. Press and release. A steady rhythm like a drum. Hana watched his hands carefully, memorizing the technique. After 10 minutes, Minho stopped and checked the pulse again. 6 beats per minute. "It's working," Hana said with wonder in her voice. But then something changed. The pilot's skin, which had been slowly getting warmer, suddenly felt colder. The faint color that had been returning to his lips faded. The display that Siok had adjusted started showing an even slower rhythm. "He's getting worse," Hana said, fear creeping into her voice. Minho checked the pilot's eyes. They seemed more sunken than before. He placed his ear against the chest again and listened. The heartbeat was there, but it was weaker now. "Further apart, what's happening?" Vrex asked. Minho's jaw tightened. "His body is using too much energy. He's been in this state for too long. He's running out of resources. Can you save him?" For the first time since they brought the pilot in, Minho looked uncertain. He studied the man's face, his hands hovering over the chest. 5 hours and 30 minutes had passed. 30 minutes left on Captain Doran's deadline. "I don't know," Minho admitted quietly. The medical bay doors opened again. This time, several high-ranking Coalition officers entered, led by a tall alien with silver skin and 4 glowing eyes. He was Admiral Kellos, the Coalition's chief medical director for this sector. "Dr. Minho," the Admiral said in a deep voice. I have been monitoring this situation. The Coalition Medical Board has serious concerns about your methods. Minho didn't look up from the pilot. I'm busy right now, Admiral. You are violating multiple protocols. You are making claims that contradict our most advanced medical technology. You are giving false hope about a deceased crew member. He's not deceased. The scanners say otherwise. The scanners are wrong. Admiral Kelos moved closer. His four eyes glowed brighter with anger. You are one doctor, Dr. Minho. One human with outdated techniques. The Coalition has thousands of medical experts from dozens of species. Our technology is the result of centuries of advancement. Why should we believe your hands over our machines? Minho finally looked up. His eyes met the Admiral's four glowing ones. Because I'm standing right here next to this patient. Your machines are reading from a distance. They're looking at numbers and patterns. I'm feeling his skin, listening to his chest, watching his face. I can sense things your machines can't. That is not scientific. Science isn't just machines and data. It's also observation, experience, intuition. Intuition is not medicine. It's been medicine for thousands of years. The Admiral's silver skin seemed to darken. If this patient dies while under your care, there will be consequences. You could lose your medical license. You could be removed from Coalition service. Minho turned back to the pilot. Then I better not let him die. Hana looked at her teacher with a mixture of fear and admiration. She had never seen anyone speak to an admiral like that, but she also saw something else. She saw doubt in Minho's eyes. Just a flicker, but it was there, Dr. Minho, she whispered. What if we can't save him? What if the admiral is right? Minho was quiet for a moment. Then he placed his hand gently on the pilot's shoulder. Look at his face, Hana, really look at it, she did. The pilot's face was pale and gray. His eyes were closed. He looked dead, but then she saw something. Something tiny. The smallest movement near his right eye, a twitch. So small she almost missed it. Did you see that? Minho asked. His eye moved. Yes, that's not a reflex. That's not random muscle movement. That's a sign of consciousness. Somewhere deep inside, he's still aware. He's still fighting. And if he's still fighting, then we don't give up. Minho looked at the crowd of alien doctors watching them. He looked at Admiral Kelos with his four judgmental eyes. He looked at Vrex, who had been skeptical from the start. Then he looked at Hana, young and afraid but willing to trust him. I need complete darkness, Minho said suddenly, and silence. Everyone out except Hana and Vrex. Explain, Admiral Kelos demanded. This patient needs more than physical treatment. He needs sensory stimulation. Human brains respond to emotional and memory triggers, but I can't reach him with all this noise and light. I need to try something different. This is highly irregular. So is everything else about this case. Admiral Kelos stared at him for a long moment. Then surprisingly, he nodded. You have 15 minutes. Then we proceed with death documentation. Understood? Understood. The Admiral and the other observers left. The doors closed. Siok dimmed the lights until the medical bay was almost completely dark. Only a single soft glow remained above the table. The room became silent. Minho sat down beside the pilot. He took the man's cold hand in his own. Now, Minho said quietly, we try the human way. Minho worked quickly but carefully. His hands moved over the pilot's body, checking things the scanners couldn't see. He pressed his fingers to the man's neck, his wrists, behind his knees, and along his ankles. Each time he closed his eyes and focused completely. Hana watched him closely. She had studied under Dr. Minho for 8 months now, but she had never seen him work like this. He wasn't using any machines, no scanners, no diagnostic tools, just his hands and his knowledge. What are you feeling for? She asked quietly. A pulse, Minho said without opening his eyes. But not a normal one. Something much slower, much weaker. The scanners would detect any pulse, wouldn't they? Not if it's slow enough. These coalition scanners are programmed for alien species. Most of them have faster heartbeats than humans. The scanners look for strong, regular patterns. They're not designed to find something this faint. Vrex stood near the wall, his arms still crossed. Human heart rates are well documented in our medical database. Between 60 and 100 beats per minute is normal. Between 40 and 60 is considered slow but acceptable. Below 40 is critical. Below 20 is impossible for sustained periods. Your scanner should detect anything above 5 beats per minute. What if it's below 5? Minho asked. Then the human would be dead. Or in a survival state you've never seen before. Minho moved to the pilot's chest. He placed both hands flat against the ribs and pressed down gently. Then he leaned forward, putting his ear against the man's sternum. The medical bay was completely silent. Even Vrex's soft humming sound had stopped. 1 minute passed, then 2. Hana shifted her weight nervously. She wanted to believe Dr. Minho, but the scanners were so certain. Every display still showed the same red message. No heartbeat detected. Suddenly Minho's eyes opened. There, he said. Did you feel that? Hana looked confused. I didn't feel anything. Put your hand here. Minho took Hana's hand and placed it flat against the pilot's chest, right over the heart. Close your eyes. Don't think about anything else, just feel. Hana closed her eyes. Her hand rested against the cold skin. She felt nothing, just stillness, just death. I don't, she started to say. Wait, be patient. Empty your mind. She tried again. Seconds passed, then more seconds. And then, so faint she almost thought she imagined it, she felt something. A tiny movement, so small it was almost nothing. Like a whisper, like a shadow. Her eyes went wide. Was that his heart? Minho said. Maybe 3 beats per minute, maybe 4. But it's there. Impossible, Vrex said. He moved closer to the table. No human can survive with such a slow heartbeat. The brain would die from lack of oxygen. Minho stood up and looked at the crystalline doctor. 5 years ago, I worked in an emergency room in Seoul. That's a city on Earth. One night there was a massive electromagnetic pulse, a solar storm. It knocked out all power in the entire hospital. No lights, no machines, no scanners, nothing. He walked to a supply cabinet and began pulling out equipment. We had 23 critical patients that night. No way to monitor them, no way to scan them. Just our hands and our knowledge. I learned something important that night. Sometimes machines make us lazy. They make us forget that medicine is more than reading numbers on a screen. What happened to the patients? Hana asked. We saved 21 of them using only the basics. Pulse checks, breathing observation, skin color, temperature. The things doctors did hundreds of years ago, before any of this technology existed. Minho returned to the table with several items. He had warm blankets, an oxygen mask, and various medical instruments. Hana, I need you to check his pulse every 5 minutes, not with a scanner, with your fingers, like I showed you. Can you do that? I think so, she said nervously. Don't think, no. This man's life depends on it. She nodded more firmly this time. I can do it. Minho began wrapping the pilot in warm blankets. His body temperature is extremely low. His heart is beating so slowly because he's in a deep survival state. Humans evolved from creatures that could hold their breath underwater for long periods. Some part of that biology is still in us. When we're dying, sometimes our bodies shut down everything except the absolute essentials. Like hibernation? Vrex asked. His tone was less skeptical now. More curious. Similar. But more extreme. His heart is only beating enough to keep his brain barely alive. Everything else has shut down. Blood flow to his limbs has stopped. Digestion has stopped. Even most brain activity has stopped. He's locked in the smallest possible version of staying alive. Minho adjusted the oxygen mask over the pilot's face. The flow was set very low. If we try to wake him up too fast, we'll kill him. His body needs to come back slowly, carefully. One system at a time. Hana placed her fingers on the pilot's neck, feeling for that impossibly faint pulse. She closed her eyes and counted in her head. After a full minute, she felt it once, twice, 3 times. 3 beats per minute, she said softly. How is he alive? Because humans are stubborn, Minho said. A small smile crossed his face. We refuse to die easily. Over the next hour, Minho worked steadily. He checked the pilot's eyes, shining a light into them and watching for any response. He monitored skin color, looking for tiny changes. He listened to breathing, counting each shallow breath. Every few minutes, he would place his hands on the pilot's chest and feel for that faint heartbeat. Hana helped, learning as she went. Minho taught her how to position her fingers correctly to feel a weak pulse. He showed her what to look for in the pilot's face. Small signs, tiny changes that a machine would miss. "Look at his lips," Minho said. "What color are they?" "Gray, almost blue. Watch them over the next 30 minutes. Tell me if the color changes at all." Vrex moved closer to observe. He no longer stood with his arms crossed. Instead, he watched everything Minho did with intense focus. His crystalline body pulsed with soft light as he recorded data. "You said humans have only been in the coalition for 60 years, Vrex said. But your medical knowledge seems much older." "It is," Minho replied. "Humans have been practicing medicine for thousands of years. Before we had scanners, we developed other ways to understand the body. We learned to read signs, to feel changes, to know when something was wrong just by looking and touching." "Primitive," Vrex said, but his tone wasn't insulting. It was thoughtful. "Maybe. But sometimes primitive methods work when advanced technology fails." 2 hours passed. The pilot's condition hadn't changed much, but it hadn't gotten worse either. That was something. The scanners still showed no heartbeat, still showed death. But Minho knew better. Hana checked the pulse again. This time she felt 4 beats in 1 minute. "It's faster," she said with excitement in her voice. Minho nodded. "Good. His body is responding to the warmth. Keep monitoring." Vrex studied the floating displays around the table. The scanners still show nothing. How can his heart be beating? Faster if the scanners detect no change? "Because your scanners are looking for the wrong thing," Minho said. He adjusted one of the blankets. "They're programmed to find normal heartbeats, strong, regular rhythms. They're not sensitive enough to detect something this slow and weak. Then we should reprogram them." "Maybe. But first, let's save this man's life." 4 hours had passed since Captain Duran gave Minho his deadline. 2 hours remained. The pilot was still unconscious, still cold, still barely alive. But Minho could feel something changing, something small but important. The man was fighting. His body was trying to come back. Minho looked at Hana. She was tired but focused. She had been checking the pulse every 5 minutes without fail. "You're doing well," he told her. "Will he survive?" she asked. Minho looked down at the pilot's gray face. "I don't know, but I know he's still fighting, and as long as he's fighting, so are we." The alarm screamed through the corridors of the starship Horizon's Edge. Red lights flashed in steady rhythm as crew members ran to their stations. Something had gone wrong in Sector 7, and a distress call had just reached the ship. Dr. Minho was in his quarters when the emergency call came through. He grabbed his medical bag and rushed toward the medical bay. His black hair was still messy from sleep, and he hadn't had time to button his uniform jacket properly. After 3 years serving on this coalition ship, he knew that sound meant someone was dying. The medical bay doors slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the room was already crowded with alien medical staff. Vrex, the ship's chief medical officer, stood tall near the central operating table. His crystalline body reflected the bright overhead lights as his forearms moved across holographic displays. On the table lay a human man. His flight suit was torn and burned. Blood covered his face and chest. His eyes were closed and his skin looked gray and lifeless. "What happened?" Minho asked as he rushed to the table. Brex's voice was smooth and calm like always. "Space debris hit a human transport vessel 40 minutes ago. We found this one in an escape pod. The scanners show no life signs." Minho looked at the displays floating above the table. Every screen showed the same message in bright red letters. No heartbeat detected. No neural activity. No respiratory function. "How long has he been like this?" Minho asked. "Unknown. Perhaps 30 minutes. Perhaps longer." Vrex touched a control panel and more screens appeared. "All systems confirm death. We will begin documentation procedures and prepare the body for—" "Wait," Minho said. He moved closer to the table and looked down at the man's face. The pilot was young, maybe 30 years old. "Give me a moment." Vrex's crystalline head tilted slightly. Dr. Minho, I understand human emotions make this difficult, but the scanners are very clear. There is no life in this body. Minho ignored him. He reached out and placed 2 fingers against the side of the pilot's neck. The skin was cold. He pressed gently, moving his fingers slightly, searching. The medical bay became quiet. Everyone watched him. The scanners never lie, Vreck said softly. This is why we use them. Minho moved his hand to the pilot's wrist. Again he pressed and searched. His eyes closed as he focused. 30 seconds passed. Then a minute. The alien medical staff began to whisper among themselves. Hana, Minho's intern, stood near the wall. She was young, only 24, and this was her first year on the ship. She watched her teacher work with wide eyes. Dr. Minho, she asked quietly. What are you doing? Minho didn't answer. He leaned down and placed his ear directly against the pilot's chest. The room went completely silent. Everyone stared as the human doctor pressed his head against the dead man's body. It looked strange. It looked primitive. The aliens had never seen anything like it. 2 minutes passed. Then Minho stood up straight. He's alive, Minho said. The medical bay erupted with confused voices. Vrex's body seemed to glow brighter for a moment, which Minho knew meant surprise. That is impossible, Vrex said. He gestured to all the floating screens. Every scanner shows death. Every instrument confirms it. There is no heartbeat, no brain activity, no breathing. By all medical standards across 47 coalition species, this human is dead. Your scanners are wrong, Minho said firmly. Our scanners are the most advanced medical technology in the galaxy, another alien doctor said. She was short with purple skin and 6 eyes. They can detect a heartbeat through solid metal. They can sense neural activity from across a room. How can you, with just your hands, know something they cannot? Minho looked at the pilot's face again. Because I'm human and he's human. I know what to look for. Vrex made a sound like ice cracking. It was the sound his species made when frustrated. Dr. Minho, I respect you. You are a skilled physician, but you are allowing hope to cloud your judgment. This is emotional, not scientific. Let me work on him, Minho said. Give me 6 hours. To do what? Pretend life exists where there is none? To save him. The medical bay doors opened again and Captain Doran entered. He was tall and covered in dark green scales. His yellow eyes moved from the scanners to Minho to the body on the table. What is the situation? The captain asked. Rex explained quickly. The human is deceased. Dr. Minho believes otherwise despite all evidence. Captain Doran looked at Minho. Explain. Minho took a breath. Captain, human biology is still being studied by the Coalition. We've only been part of the galaxy community for 60 years. There are things about us you don't know yet, things your scanners aren't programmed to recognize, such as extreme survival states. When humans are near death, our bodies can do things that seem impossible. Our hearts can slow down so much that most equipment can't detect them. Our breathing can become so shallow that it appears stopped. But we're still alive. We're surviving. The captain stared at him for a long moment. Then he looked at Vrex. How certain are you that this human is dead? The scanners show... I didn't ask about the scanners. I asked about your certainty. Vrex was quiet. His crystalline body seemed to dim slightly. In my 20 years of medicine, I have never seen the scanners be wrong. But it's possible? Technically, yes, but extremely unlikely. Captain Doran nodded slowly. Then he looked at Minho. You have 6 hours. If there is no improvement, we proceed with death documentation. Understood? Understood, Minho said. And Dr. Minho? The captain's voice became harder. If you are wrong, there will be consequences. You will be delaying proper procedures. You will be giving false hope. You will be violating Coalition medical protocol. I know, Minho said quietly. But I'm not wrong. The captain left. Most of the alien medical staff followed him, whispering among themselves. Vrex remained, standing near the door. His forearms crossed over his chest. I will observe, Vrex said. When you fail, I will document it properly. Minho turned back to the table. Hana moved closer, standing beside him. What do we do? She asked softly. Minho placed his hand on the pilot's shoulder. The skin was still cold, but something in his gut told him there was life underneath. Something small and hidden and fighting to survive. We find his heartbeat, Minho said. Watch me. He rolled up his sleeves and got to work. The lights in the medical bay slowly increased to normal brightness. The pilot's eyes struggled to adjust. He blinked several times, his face showing confusion and pain. But he was awake. He was alive. Minho kept his hand on the pilot's shoulder. Don't try to move. You've been through something extreme. Your body needs time to recover. The pilot's lips moved again. His voice was rough and weak. What happened? Your ship was destroyed by space debris. You were in an escape pod. We found you and brought you here. Do you remember any of that? The pilot's eyes closed briefly, then opened again. Cold, I remember. So cold and dark. I thought I was dying. You almost did, but your body did something remarkable. It put you into a survival state. Your heart slowed down to almost nothing. Your breathing nearly stopped. You were barely alive, but you held on. How long? We don't know exactly. At least an hour. Maybe longer. The pilot tried to lift his hand but couldn't. His muscles weren't responding properly yet. Panic flickered across his face. It's okay, Yuna said gently. Your body shut down blood flow to your limbs to preserve your vital organs. The feeling will come back slowly. You need to be patient. Over the next hour, Minho carefully managed the pilot's recovery. It was like watching someone wake from a very deep sleep. First, the pilot's breathing became more regular. His heart rate continued to climb slowly. 30 beats per minute, then 40. Still slow, but entering the range where life could be sustained more easily. Color returned to his skin gradually. The gray faded to pale. The pale faded to something closer to a normal human skin tone. His lips went from blue-gray to pink. His hands, which had been ice-cold, began to warm. Hana monitored everything carefully. She checked his pulse every few minutes with her fingers, just like Minho had taught her. She watched his eyes for signs of brain damage. She listened to his breathing. All the simple, basic techniques that had saved his life. Siak adjusted the scanners again, programming them to properly track human survival states. The displays now showed accurate readings. Heart rate, breathing, brain activity, all climbing steadily toward normal ranges. Rex stood beside Minho, watching everything with intense focus. I owe you an apology, Dr. Minho. I doubted you. I believed the scanners over your judgment. The scanners aren't wrong, Minho said. They just weren't designed for this. They were looking for life as you know it, not life as humans experience it. Still, I should have trusted your expertise with your own species. Now you know, human biology is full of surprises. Admiral Kilos had remained in the medical bay observing everything. His four eyes watched the recovering pilot with fascination. I want a complete report on this case. Every detail. Every technique you used. This survival mechanism needs to be documented in the Coalition medical database immediately. Of course, Minho agreed. But first I need to focus on my patient. The Admiral nodded and left, taking most of the other observers with him. The medical bay became quieter again. Just Minho, Hana, Vrex, Yuna, Siok, and the recovering pilot. What's your name? Minho asked the pilot. Taiyang, the pilot said weakly. My name is Taiyang. Well, Taiyang, you gave us quite a scare. You were clinically dead according to every scanner on the ship. A weak smile crossed Taiyang's face, but you didn't believe them. No, I felt your heartbeat. It was faint, but it was there. I wasn't going to give up on you. Taiyang's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. I heard you, you know, when you were talking to me. I was somewhere dark and far away, but I heard voices. I heard singing. It helped me find my way back. Hana felt her own eyes getting wet. She had sung that lullaby not knowing if it would help. But it had. Her voice had literally helped pull someone back from death. By the third hour after waking, Taiyang could move his fingers. By the fourth hour, he could move his hands. His heart rate stabilized at 65 beats per minute. His breathing was normal. Brain scans showed full activity with no signs of damage. This is incredible, Vrex said, studying the data. He was in that state for over an hour, possibly 90 minutes. His brain should show significant damage from oxygen deprivation. But there's nothing. No damage at all. Human brains are more resilient than you think, Yuna explained. We have documented cases of humans surviving much longer without oxygen and recovering fully. Our brains have protective mechanisms that activate during extreme stress. Another human crew member arrived. His name was Jiho and he worked in cargo management. He carried a small bag with him. I heard about Taiyang, Jiho said. We were scheduled to arrive at the same station. I have some of his personal items that were recovered from the escape pod. I thought they might help. He pulled out a small data pad, a photograph, and a worn book. Minho took the photograph and showed it to Taiyang. Is this your family? Minho asked. Taiyang's eyes focused on the image. It showed a woman and 2 young children all smiling. Fresh tears rolled down his cheeks. My wife, my daughters. I thought I would never see them again. You will, Minho assured him. You're going to recover fully. In a few weeks, you'll be back with them. Taiyang held the photograph with shaking hands. They're on Kepler Station, waiting for me. We'll get you there, Captain Doran said from the doorway. He had entered quietly and now stood watching the scene. Dr. Minho, I must say I'm impressed. When I gave you 6 hours, I doubted you would succeed. But you did something I've never seen before. I just did my job, Captain. No, you did much more than that. You challenged our assumptions. You showed us that the Coalition's medical technology, as advanced as it is, still has limitations. And you saved a life that everyone else had given up on. The captain walked to the table and looked at Taiyang. Rest and recover, pilot. You have a family waiting for you. Over the following days, Taiyang's recovery continued steadily. His strength returned. His muscles remembered how to work. He could sit up, then stand, then walk. His heart and lungs functioned normally. His brain showed no lasting effects from the trauma. The medical staff monitored him constantly, recording every detail. This was unprecedented. No one in the Coalition had ever seen a recovery like this. The data would change how they understood human biology. Minho spent hours writing his report. He documented every technique he had used. The pulse checks, the temperature monitoring, the sensory stimulation, the emotional connection. He explained the theory behind human survival states and how they differed from anything in the Coalition database. Hana helped with the report, adding her own observations. She had learned more in those 6 hours than in her entire time as an intern. She understood now that medicine was more than technology and data. It was also intuition, observation, and the human touch. Rex read the report carefully and added his own notes. He recommended that all Coalition medical facilities receive training in human-specific emergency techniques. He suggested that human medical consultants be stationed on every major ship and station. Your species brings something valuable to the Coalition, Rex told Minho. Not just your medical knowledge, but your perspective. You see things we miss. You feel things our scanners cannot detect. That is worth preserving and sharing. On the 10th day, Taiyang was cleared for transfer to Kepler Station. He could walk normally now. His vitals were perfect. He was, by all measures, completely recovered from an injury that should have killed him. Before he left, he came to the medical bay one last time. Minho, Hana, and the others were there. I don't know how to thank you, Taiyang said. You saved my life when everyone else said I was already dead. Just take care of yourself, Minho replied. And hug your daughters for me. Taiyang smiled. I will. Every day, he turned to Hana. And thank you for singing. That lullaby was beautiful. It was what finally pulled me back. When everything was dark and I wanted to let go, I heard your voice and remembered that life was worth fighting for. Hana blushed. I'm glad it helped. After Taiyang left, the medical bay felt quiet. The excitement was over. But the impact of what had happened would continue for years. News of the case spread throughout the Coalition. Medical schools began studying it. Research papers were written. New protocols were developed. Human survival biology became a major field of study. Admiral Kalos personally updated the Coalition medical guidelines. A new directive was added, the Human Exception Clause. It stated that when dealing with human patients, advanced technology must be combined with traditional human medical assessment. No human would be declared dead until a human doctor confirmed it using hands-on examination. Minho received several commendations. He was invited to speak at medical conferences across the galaxy, but he preferred to stay on the horizon's edge, continuing his work in the medical bay. Hana completed her internship and became a full medical officer. She made sure to teach other young doctors what Minho had taught her, that machines were tools, not replacements for human judgment, that the oldest medical techniques still had value, that sometimes you needed to trust your hands and your instincts more than a screen full of data. Rex and Minho became close colleagues. They published several papers together about the integration of Coalition technology and human medical practice. They developed new scanners that could detect human survival states. They created training programs for alien medical staff working with human patients. Months later, Minho received a me.